The claims being made are false. They stated clearly that the project had no ties to any past conversations between December 1st, 2025. Diddy's legal team fires off a cease and desist, calling the Netflix documentary a shameful hit piece. But the footage kept spreading.
New legal fight between 50 Cent and Sean Diddy Combs. Combs' lawyers trying to stop the release of a new Netflix docu-series, that was due out today.
Then leaked clips surfaced showing Diddy's actual reaction to 50 Cent's documentary. And his response is going absolutely viral. Here's what everyone's watching. December 1st, 2025, one day before Netflix was set to premiere their explosive documentary series about Sean Diddy Combs, his legal team made their move. A cease and desist letter landed on the streaming giant's desk with one clear demand. Take down Sean Combs, The Reckoning immediately. New legal fight between 50 Cent and Sean Diddy Combs. Combs' lawyers trying to stop the release of a new Netflix docu-series, due have today. The legal team didn't hold back. They called it a shameful hit piece. They accused Netflix of something even more damaging, using stolen footage that was never authorized for release.
Now Combs' lawyers are demanding Netflix pull the series, threatening legal action, claiming Netflix is using stolen footage that was never authorized for release as part of what they call a shameful hit piece.
Then there's the Harlem footage. The documentary shows Diddy out in his old neighborhood, greeting fans, taking pictures, playing the part of the beloved mogul. But what happens immediately after tells a different story.
I need some hand sanitizer. Hold on, I've been down the streets amongst the people. Yeah, I gotta take a bath.
This wasn't just a polite legal request. This was a declaration of war. But here's where it gets really interesting. The footage they're talking about, it shows Diddy himself 6 days before his September 2024 arrest having what should have been private conversations with his lawyers. Overnight, lawyers for Sean Diddy Combs trying to stop the release of a Netflix docu-series due out today.
A new legal fight between 50 Cent and Sean Diddy Combs. ABC's Hannah Battah explains what it means for a new Netflix documentary about Diddy.
In interviews, he played it like a journalist protecting a source, but he did hint that being part of hip-hop culture meant things surfaced faster. People in or around the culture would naturally come to him before going elsewhere.
I figured most journalists would not disclose their sources.
The recordings give viewers an intimate look at Combs' mindset ahead of his criminal trial.
We have to find somebody that'll work with us that has dealt in the dirtiest of dirty business. Diddy spokesman Judah Engelmeyer went straight to TMZ with his version of events. According to him, Netflix relied on stolen footage that Diddy had been recording himself, not for them, for his own documentary. Footage he'd been collecting since he was 19 years old, meant to tell his story in his own way. Decades of material, all captured to control his own narrative. Now, Netflix was allegedly ripping that private footage out of context. But the real bombshell, the legal team claimed this footage included conversations with his lawyers that were never intended for public viewing. Attorney-client privilege caught on camera. I am going to let you professionals look at the situation and come back to me with a solution. It also includes video of Combs greeting fans in Harlem. Off. The footage shows Diddy making demands, talking about finding people who've worked in the dirtiest of dirty businesses. He's strategizing, venting, admitting they're losing. These aren't conversations meant for public consumption. These are private war room discussions between a man and his lawyers.
Let's get into this. So, this Diddy documentary, unauthorized clearly.
Yes, for sure.
The Reckoning that 50 Cent is an executive producer on.
Now, Combs' lawyers are demanding Netflix pull the series, threatening legal action, claiming Netflix is using stolen footage that was never authorized for release as part of what they call a shameful hit piece. Then there's the Harlem footage. The documentary shows Diddy out in his old neighborhood, greeting fans, taking pictures, playing the part of the beloved mogul. But what happens immediately after tells a different story. I need some hand sanitizer. Hold on. I've been down the streets amongst the people. Yeah, I got to take it back. The contrast is striking. Public persona versus private reality. And all of it caught on camera by someone Diddy himself hired. But this wasn't just about leaked footage. Diddy's team made it personal. They brought up Ted Sarandos, Netflix's CEO. Someone Diddy claimed he had long respected.
And then there's Janice Combs, his mother. And since I talk about Black women on this channel, Janice Combs being a Black woman, I am, of course, looking side-eye at people who just scrutinize her in a negative way and say, it's because of how his mama raised him or how his mama used to beat him or something.
Someone whose legacy through his connection to the late Clarence Avant, Diddy had admired. Diddy had even been featured in Netflix's 2019 documentary The Black Godfather about Avant. And now for Netflix to give his life story to someone who has publicly attacked him for decades feels like an unnecessary and deeply personal affront. That's someone. 50 Cent, the longtime adversary with a personal vendetta, who, according to Diddy's legal team, has spent too much time slandering Mr. Combs. The legal filing made their position crystal clear. It was staggering that Netflix handed creative control to someone with decades of documented beef. The series is executive produced by Combs' longtime rival Curtis 50 Cent Jackson and director Alex Stapleton, who said, quote, "We obtained the footage legally and have the necessary rights." End quote. The legal team laid out their full theory. According to them, this went beyond just using footage. This was corporate retaliation, their claim. Years ago, Ted Sarandos had approached Diddy about making a documentary. Did he allegedly turn down the proposal? Said no to Netflix's pitch? Now, according to this theory, Netflix was getting revenge. The scorned streaming executive giving the project to Diddy's biggest enemy instead. It's the kind of Hollywood conspiracy that sounds almost too dramatic to be true. At minimum, he expected fairness. The statement read, from people he respected, from someone like Ted Sarandos. How do you respond to people who say that it's more about the disdain that you have for Sean Combs than it is for giving the victims a platform? It's that personal. The legal team's full statement pulled no punches. If Netflix cared about truth or legal rights, it would not be ripping private footage out of context. Material that was never meant for public consumption. Their legal arguments centered on one point. Fundamentally unfair and illegal for Netflix to misappropriate that work. But how did this footage even exist? According to Diddy's team, he had a videographer following him during the federal investigation, recording everything. He was planning to tell his story eventually in his own way when the time was right. Then someone from his inner circle allegedly leaked or sold the footage. The betrayal came from within. The cease and desist was just the beginning. Diddy's lawyers made it clear they were ready to escalate. As you are undoubtedly aware, Mr. Combs has not hesitated to take legal action against media entities and others who violate his rights, and he will not hesitate to do so against Netflix. This isn't an empty threat. Diddy previously filed a $100 million defamation lawsuit against NBC Universal over a Peacock documentary called Diddy, The Making of a Bad Boy. As of December 2024, no lawsuit had been filed against Netflix yet, but the threat was hanging there. Netflix didn't blink. Their response came swift and definitive. Sean Combs and Netflix. The Ted Sarandos revenge theory denied. The footage legally obtained. Director Alexandria Stapleton provided more details to Tudum. It came to us. We obtained the footage legally and have the necessary rights. She explained they moved heaven and earth to keep the filmmaker's identity confidential. She pointed out something everyone already knew. One thing about Sean Combs is that he's always filming himself. And it's been an obsession throughout the decades. I mean, you know, you're talking about a man who films himself doing everything and has for decades. I think he wanted someone to be behind the scenes with him.
Here's the part you need to know about Kirk Burroughs, the part that complicates everything. He says Kirk Burroughs has been suing Sean Combs since 2003.
Does that mean Kirk's lying about the slap? Maybe. Does it mean he has financial motivation to embellish or fabricate? Absolutely. But it also doesn't erase what he claims he saw that day in the hotel.
You seen him taking IVs with his mother, and they're saying, like, this is what was happening allegedly after one of their freak-offs. His mother right by his side.
The documentary team even claimed they had reached out to Combs' legal team multiple times for an interview and comment. Radio silence, no response. Now, after the footage was released, suddenly they had plenty to say. Netflix full statement doubled down. Curtis Jackson is an executive producer but does not have creative control. No one was paid to participate. That last line matters. Diddy's team had alleged that 50 Cent paid people to appear in the documentary and say negative things. Netflix says that's false. 50 Cent, meanwhile, stayed coy about his sources. When pressed about how he obtained the footage, his response was classic. I figure most journalists would not disclose their sources. He wasn't revealing anything. Not the source, not the method. A new illegal fight between 50 Cent and Sean Diddy Combs. ABC's Hannah Batta explains what it means for a new Netflix documentary about Diddy. In interviews, he played it like a journalist protecting a source, but he did hint that being part of hip-hop culture meant things surfaced faster. People in or around the culture would naturally come to him before going elsewhere. I think most journalists would not disclose their sources. The recordings give viewers an intimate look at Combs' mindset ahead of his criminal trial. But on December 10, 2024, a new name emerged. Michael Oberles, who describes himself as Sean Combs' documentarian, released a statement. He claimed he'd been working on a project profiling Combs for over 2 years. The footage everyone was fighting over wasn't released by me or anyone authorized to handle Sean Combs' materials. According to Oberles, it was leaked by a third party, someone who covered for him for just 3 days while he was out of state. That brief window was apparently all it took for the footage to find its way to 50 Cent's team. This incident had nothing to do with any fee dispute or contract issue. Oberle explained, the betrayal wasn't about money. Someone in Diddy's inner circle saw an opportunity and took it. The actions of the parties involved reflect the lack of integrity every storyteller should uphold. Taking footage intended for our project to advance a narrative that was not our own is both unethical and unacceptable. Here's what makes this complicated. Diddy did hire a videographer. That's not disputed. The question is, what happened next? Did that videographer breach a contract? Was there even a contract? Or was this someone who shot footage independently and then sold it? According to legal experts, this matters enormously. If the videographer was hired as an independent contractor without a specific work-for-hire agreement, they might own the footage. If there was a contract stipulating Diddy owned everything, that's different. But proving that in court, that's a whole other battle. But the identity question remained. Who was this third party who covered for Oberles? Who saw those 3 days as their window? That name stayed locked down tight. Oberle wasn't giving it up. Netflix wasn't revealing sources. 50 Cent kept playing coy. The videographer's identity remained one of the documentary's best-kept secrets. Meanwhile, the footage itself told its own story. Did he pacing hotel rooms, strategizing with lawyers, demanding better results from his legal team? The man who'd spent decades building an empire, now watching it crumble in real time. All captured on camera by someone he trusted, someone he paid, someone who was supposed to be documenting his triumphant comeback story. Instead, that footage became evidence of his unraveling. The ultimate irony for someone who'd spent his entire career controlling every aspect of his image. The king of branding, undone by his own obsession with documentation. December went on. The documentary continued dominating Netflix charts. Diddy remained behind bars. His legal team continued threatening action they never actually took. And somewhere out there, the person who made it all possible by handing over those 3 days of footage remained anonymous. The betrayal was complete. The documentary was out. The footage was everywhere. And Sean Diddy Combs' own cameras had captured the evidence that helped define his downfall. While lawyers fired off cease and desist letters, Diddy's mother, Janice, stepped forward, determined to tell her side of the story and defend the family name. December 6, 2024. An 85-year-old woman sits down to write what might be the hardest statement of her life. Janice Combs, Diddy's mother, is breaking her silence on the Netflix documentary that's tearing her family apart. And let's get into this. So, this Diddy documentary, unauthorized, clearly. Yes, for sure. The reckoning that 50 Cent is his executive producer on. I am writing this statement to correct some of the lies presented in Sean Combs. The reckoning, she declares to Deadline. The documentary dropped December 2nd. Executive produced by 50 Cent and Janice isn't holding back. These inaccuracies regarding my son Sean's upbringing and family life is intentionally done to mislead viewers and further harm our reputation, not mistakes, deliberate lies. She claims the family's name being destroyed piece by piece. Now, one of them is Kirk Burrows' allegations that Well claims that he firsthand saw Diddy slap his own mother. The documentary paints a disturbing picture. Tim Patterson, Diddy's childhood friend, gets interviewed. The claims he makes are chilling. He describes witnessing Janice give young Sean beatings that went beyond discipline. His beatings made me scared. Patterson recalls in the doc when he got his beatings. It wasn't a joking thing. Damn, I hate thinking about that. I don't know that there is anything new. Well, maybe there are. There's a couple new things that I learned about from this documentary. And I guess I could have gone to my grave without knowing them, but anyway, here we are as a society. The documentary doesn't just stop at physical discipline. Patterson describes Diddy's household as something out of a movie. In Sean's household, you'd start to see all the stuff you saw in the movies. He claims Janice knew how to throw a party, and the parties were packed. Remember, Did's father, Melvin Combs, was a major drug lord. Friends with Frank Lucas, the real American gangster, murdered when Diddy was only 3 years old. Patterson alleges these parties had pimps, pushers, liquor flowing. Young Diddy exposed to an adult criminal world. The environment allegedly shaping his entire perspective on parties, power, control. And then there's Janice Combs, his mother. And since I talk about black women on this channel, Janice Combs being a black woman, I am of course, looking side-eye at people who just scrutinize her in a negative way. It's like, it's because of how his mama raised him or how his mama used to beat him or something. But Janice fires back with her own narrative. I was a single mother raising my son. I held 3 and even 4 jobs in an attempt to provide a comfortable upbringing and quality education for my child. Working multiple jobs simultaneously, sacrifice being her story. I raised Sean with love and hard work, not abuse. The single mother defense. The hard-working parent who did everything right. Except there's a problem. The documentary uses Janice's own words against her. Footage from inside the actor's studio resurfaces. Janice sitting right next to her son, casually stating, he got a lot of beatings, too. Joking about it, laughing about it. The contradiction staring everyone in the face. And we're like, something has gone wrong. Something has gone wrong. And so I resist the urge to just say, this is all his mama's fault. Like, that just can't be. That's way too simplistic. Then comes Kirk Burrows' bombshell. The former Bad Boy Records executive drops the most explosive allegation of all. December 28, 1991, the day of the City College tragedy. 9 people crushed to death at a charity basketball game Diddy promoted. Burrows claims he was there in a hotel room on the east side. Did he hold up with his mother after the disaster? Janice questioning if her son made the right decision leaving school for music. Then what Burrows says he witnessed next. According to reports, Janice Combs has addressed this. She said, "I'm portrayed as an abusive parent. This is untrue. As I have stated previously, I was a single mother raising my son. I held 3 and even 4 jobs in an attempt to provide a comfortable upbringing and quality education for my child. I raised Sean with love and hard work, not abuse. The allegations that my son slapped me while we were conversing after the tragic City College events are inaccurate and patently false. I saw him put his hands on her, call her a __, and slapped her." Kirk's detailed account, physical violence against his own mother, verbal abuse included. The pattern starting early, he suggests Janice's response is immediate and forceful. The allegations stated by Mr. Kirk Burrows that my son slapped me while we were conversing after the tragic City College events are inaccurate and patently false. Calling Kirk a liar directly, that was a very sad day for all of us. If you guys don't remember, Jean D talked about this already. But she doesn't stop at denial. Janice goes on the attack. For him to use this tragedy and incorporate fake narratives to further his prior failed and current attempt to gain what was never his bad boy records is wrong, outrageous, and past offensive. She's claiming Kirk wants ownership, that he's lying to get the label, that this is all about money and revenge. Here's what complicates everything. Kirk Burrows has been suing Sean Combs since 2003. The original lawsuit claimed that back in 1996, Combs stormed into his office wielding a baseball bat, forcing him under threat of violence to sign over his 25% stake in Bad Boy Entertainment. Kirk's been fighting for over 2 decades to get back what he says was stolen from him. But here's a part you need to know about Kirk Burrows, the part that complicates everything. He says Kirk Burrows has been suing Sean Combs since 2003. Does that mean Kirk's lying about the slap? Maybe. Does it mean he has financial motivation to embellish or fabricate? Absolutely. But it also doesn't erase what he claims he saw that day in the hotel. You seen him taking IVs with his mother and they were saying like this is what was happening allegedly after one of their freak-offs. His mother right by his side. The beautiful son defense comes next. Sean has been a beautiful son, always ensuring that I was cared for and vigilantly managing my medical care. At 85, she needs medical attention. Diddy providing financial support, taking care of his mother, the good son narrative being pushed hard. Janice ends with a demand. I am requesting that these distortions, falsehoods, and misleading statements be publicly retracted. Wanting corrections, wanting apologies, the family's honor at stake. Netflix hasn't budged. A spokesperson already responded days earlier. This is not a hit piece or an act of retribution. Curtis Jackson is an executive producer, but does not have creative control. No one was paid to participate. Let's see what it says here. It says Shondanda DeYoung's mother, Janice Combs, has publicly responded to the new Netflix docu-series about her son. Janice claims that the series contains lies and inaccuracies about Sean and his upbringing. The truth. Janice was there through everything. Manhattan courtroom almost every single day of that 2-month trial, summer 2024. Trafficking charges, racho charges, the freak-offs, the drugs, the violence, the money, supporting her son through it all. The loyal mother till the very end. She last saw him about 10 days before Thanksgiving 2024, visiting Fort Dix FCI in New Jersey, where Diddy now sits imprisoned, sentenced to 4 years in October after being found guilty on 2 counts. Transportation to engage in prostitution. Expected release date June 2028. While Sean Combs is in a federal prison, that part isn't in dispute. He's at FCI Fort Dix in New Jersey serving 50 months after being convicted on 2 counts of transporting individuals across state lines to engage. But the documentary isn't just rehashing court transcripts. It's asking a different question entirely. Not what did he do, but why? How does someone become capable of the things prosecutors proved in court and that we in particular parties, right? We're told that there were a lot of parties with a lot of stuff going on at those parties and he was a little boy. Nature versus nurture, the oldest debate in psychology, and 50 Cent's documentary plants its flag firmly on one side. The environment shaped the man. The home created the monster. The mother's choices echo in the son's crimes. Except Janice Combs isn't accepting that narrative. Not quietly. Not gracefully. But did I deny it? Did I act like I didn't know? Yeah. You know why? Because anything that could hurt this, I'm going to war with this. So, what's the truth? Is Janice a single mother who sacrificed everything now watching her son's enemies destroy his legacy? Or does the documentary reveal uncomfortable truths about the environment that shaped one of hip-hop's most controversial figures? He said he never witnessed Diddy physically doing something to someone like that because he would have checked him, but he heard the stories. The truth probably lives somewhere in the messy middle. Janice Combs worked multiple jobs that's documented. She provided opportunities. Private school, Howard University, the foundation for success. But Tim Patterson's memories, Kirk Burrows' allegations, the inside the actor studio footage of Janice herself joking about beatings, those exist too on camera in the documentary, available for anyone to watch and judge. 50 Cent isn't backing down. The documentary stays up. The allegations remain. And Janice Combs' statement, powerful as it is, can't erase what millions have now seen and heard. Your ex is the reason why you being harassed. Your ex is the reason why your son is the way he is. He not wrong, and right. He kind of right. We all talk about this because of your ex. The Combs family wants retractions. They want apologies. They want their reputation restored. But in the court of public opinion, with Diddy behind bars and witnesses on camera, that might be the one thing even all of Janice's love and loyalty can't buy back. What's undeniable is this: the woman who sat in that courtroom every single day supporting her son, who visits him in prison, who issues statements defending his upbringing, she's not going anywhere. The loyalty remains unshaken. Whether that loyalty protects her son's legacy or further damages it, that question doesn't have an answer yet. Not while the appeals are pending. Not while civil cases keep mounting. Not while that release date in June 2028 still feels like an eternity away. Janice Combs wanted retractions. She got headlines instead. She,